Welcome to class, remote learners and virtual educators. This is your new virtual classroom. Let's get started. I'm your host for the short VOD, Laura Hamill, a former K-12 teacher. Our two brief agenda items for this VOD will include a virtual tour of the classroom, as well as advantages of online learning. The room tour we are about to take will include attendance, front of class, control, participant privileges, recording during a session, as well as sharing content. I'm going to switch screens momentarily and step into my classroom. Here we are. You have just stepped inside your virtual classroom. I'm going to call out a few of those items that we just mentioned on our tour list. To start, I'm going to bring my cursor and your eyes to the bottom of the screen where you'll find a floating menu panel. Notice I'm currently hovered over the participant panel. It is presented to the right of the screen, but I can take that away. If we had more students in class at this time, I would see them stacked up on the right. Next to that, we also have the chat. So the chat right now I have open, although during a presentation, I might hide that in the event that I do not want to be distracted. You can use that as a best practice, more as a parking lot, and come back to those questions and responses later on. Okay, moving forward, we talked about having control in your session. As far as control over on your attendance list, you have the option to mute and or unmute participants during the session. You also have control as far as what role you would like that student to play in class. Currently, I am both the presenter and the host, but I can change that role at any time by simply clicking on that student or even right-clicking. Okay, moving on. I'm going to now bring your eyes up to the top menu, and I'm going to pull up the participant list. This is another place where you can give and take away different privileges and control. Often as a best practice, I will have students muted on entry. If virtual learning and remote locations are new to everyone, this might help with eliminating those background noises getting started. You also, at the time, I have on anybody can share. So if given permission or asked to, anyone in the class could bring content up on their screen. So this is another control that you have. If you want to be less fluid in your session, you could uncheck that privilege. Again, you have a few more to choose from here. You also have invite and remind and copy meeting link in the event that someone didn't quite catch it before joining your session. I'm going to bring your eyes back down to the floating panel and or menu at the bottom. When you are ready to share content, you are going to come down here to this arrow and start to push content onto your screen. When doing so, your class will see exactly what you have pushed to them. You have a few leveled here as far as content. At top, I have two screens open right now, and I can choose to share which one I would like to expose. That will share my whole screen. Moving down in the second tier, these are current applications that I have open, and I can pick and choose which applications. If you do not see one on the list, it's because it's not currently running. Therefore, you can come down to other applications. You can also be sharing a file and or a whiteboard for everybody to work collaboratively. All right, I'm going to close that out. Next, as a best practice, you have that option to record a session. If you're more of a lecturer, you may choose in a remote or virtual setting to record your sessions ahead of time and push those out to your students so that your time brought together is truthfully collaborative and is meant to bring on that rich discussion. All right, these current buttons, this is your turn video on and off, as well as your mute. So those are your personal video and mute buttons. But just also push that information out to your students as well, that's where that is located for them. I encourage you to turn on video unless you're having maybe perhaps some bandwidth issues, connectivity issues. Turning off video can sometimes improve the experience. All right, we are going to switch out of our virtual classroom. That's just getting started. A quick tour of what you have going on. All right, let's talk advantages of online learning. First advantage, working anytime or learning anytime, anywhere. Of course, students could be working from their home, but they may also be working at a grandparent's or a local coffee shop, or they've headed to the local establishment with the best Wi-Fi. With online learning, you can offer more flexible schedules, perhaps an AM and a PM session. So be cognizant of your students and their family and their lifestyles, and be able to offer those flexible opportunities. We looked at those control privileges that you have. You may even have a little bit more control online than you would in the classroom. Recording those sessions, there are a lot of devices out there if you were in a brick and mortar classroom to record yourself, but here it can be done real time on the spot. Speaking of real time, we have real time collaboration as far as what's going on the screen, depending on the different platforms, websites, LMSs that you use, we can see that work happening right in front of us. Face-to-face communication. There's no difference between the face-to-face live and face-to-face online. So that is another advantage that we have to online learning. And next, take advantage of your remote setting. We're always trying to bring those real-world examples into the classroom, but we have them right here. Thank you for joining me for this quick tour and VOD. Keep in mind, teaching first, technology second. Good luck. Wish you well.